hold up, I am on my way. I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing.
Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 20 of my very best spring Dollar Tree DIYs. So it is a crafting marathon for spring DIYs. I know so many of you are ready for spring. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to use 2 of these little easels from the Dollar Tree. I used to have a hard time finding these at the Dollar Tree, but I've been finding them a lot more frequently. And I wanted to put the 2 of these together to make a little porch swing decoration for spring. Now, honestly, you could probably use this for summer or anything, but we're going to build it for spring and decorate it for spring, but I'm going to leave it where I can, switch it up for different seasons if I want to. So it has like the easel thing. If you pull it around the backwards, it's going to leave like the little shelf for the easel is still going to be there, which I kind of want to leave in place because it's going to provide some structure for the frame. Now I thought about just putting like one on top of the other, the little legs, if you know what I mean. Now, when I kind of put that together like that, the only problem is since one is then higher than the other, it's going to be kind of at an angle. As you can see, it kind of slopes down if I do it that way. So I'm only going to use one of the legs to connect the 2 pieces together and just remove the other piece, which we end up using for this DIY anyway. So I'm just going to take the little wing nut off and remove the screw. And then we can just take that existing leg from the other easel and bring it through to screw it in. But first, I kind of need to drill a hole in it so that I can put a screw through there. So I'm just going to put like a wood block here underneath and use my drill to drill a hole in there. That way it'll be easier to screw that in and I won't have to worry about splitting the wood or anything like that. So just a matter of lining it back up. I'm going to do it like this, where the 2 little ledges for the easel, like little shelves, are pointing inwards, but it doesn't really matter. I do end up using those when I decorate the little porch swing. This turned out so cute. I think you guys are really going to love it. And I saw somebody make one similar to this, I think, using the easels. I saw a picture, I think, last year. And I've been wanting to make one ever since. I can't remember where I saw it. I think I saw maybe a picture on Facebook or something like that. But I'm so glad I finally did. So I put the screw in there and the wing nut, tightening both sides, and we have the perfect structure for a porch swing. It looks just like the structure of a porch swing. I thought about staining it or painting it, but I kind of like it like the raw wood look like that. So I'm just going to leave it like that, but you can always do yours however you would like. Now I'm going to use these little wood pallets, coasters from the Dollar Tree to make the porch swing. I thought they looked great because they have like the slats on there. They're about the right size. So we're going to need a total of 4. Now, if you like put them together in an L shape, you can just leave it like that, but I thought I wanted the seat part of my swing to be a little bit shorter to kind of make it look more like a bench. And so I'm just going to cut it off right about there with my saw. But again, if you wanted to use it intact or you didn't have access to a saw, you totally could do that. But that's how much I cut off each one just to make the seat part shorter. And then I'm going to sit it like that, sitting it on top of the back. I thought about using the extra pieces for the sides of the swing, but they were a little too big, so I decided to use that extra piece from the easels. Is going to work way better. So it is time to put our little porch swing together, and I'm going to leave this raw wood too, so it'll go with the porch swing that we've created so far, and it really reminds me of a porch swing, but it would be really cute if you wanted to stain it as well. So I just use hot glue, and I glue the 2 pieces of the back together, and then that's what it looks like. I'm going to leave the slatted part up top. And then I was trying to decide if I wanted the bench to be on there like that or if I wanted it to have like a more finished edge. I'm going to go ahead and glue those 2 together as well, just with hot glue. And this is where I was trying to decide how I wanted it to put together. I decided I kind of liked it like that better, with the longer piece of wood on the outside, kind of how the back of the bench is. So it's kind of technically upside down right now. So I'm going to glue all of those posts to it. Try to keep it square, like a 90-degree angle. And we have like the body of our porch swing. Wasn't that easy? Now it's just a matter of putting the arms on. So this is what we're at right now. And I'm going to use that extra piece that we had from the top of, or from the easel that we didn't need. And I'm going to use that. I'm going to cut that down into 4 pieces to make little sides for the side of our porch swing. I love building miniature stuff like that. I think it's so much fun. I did like a popsicle stick and Dollar Tree wood picnic table last year for one of my tier trays. So fun. And so I cut off a piece just as long as the seat, like that. And then I'll need to cut another piece down for the bottom. So I cut a total of 4 pieces out of that little thing. I decided I better not just eyeball it. And I took that to my cell, and we have 4 pieces now. If you didn't want to use that, you could always use those little like craft squares like that, or the little Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree would work great. Just sanding those down, and now it's time to put these together. So I have the taller part, if you can't tell, the taller part, the full piece is on the back, making like a high bench seat. And the shorter part that I cut down is the bottom of the swing. So I just attached the 2 smaller pieces with hot glue on the corners. And then we can attach the larger pieces on top. I've been having so much fun with these spring DIYs. They're really, really fun. And I hope you guys have enjoyed them. Today, these are really, really, really cute ones. My family really got a kick out of them. So I just glued that to the back and to the top of that little piece we already glued down. As you can see, just a simple L shape. Looks like the side of a porch swing. Porch swings remind me of when I was a kid. We always lived in a small town with a front porch. We always had a porch swing, and we'd sit out there for hours because, there was no internet. And so we got the other side attached, and it's looking pretty good. I don't think it really needs anything else. We just need to hang it on the porch swing structure. Now, you could get really creative with this, especially if you're going to use outside. They have like the plant hanger chains. You could use that. I thought about that, but I didn't really have any. So I'm just going to use twine. I'm going to make mine super easy. That way I don't have to worry about like eye hooks or anything like that. I'm just going to simply tie it on because it's not going to be very heavy. And just take that twine and run it up over the top of the structure, and then just attach that to the back of the swing. And, for what I'm going to use this for, this is totally strong enough, and it kind of looks springy as well. It looks kind of like a rope. So I just hot glued that to the top of the back of the swing. You're not going to be able to really see it back there. And then trim that off. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just making sure that when I glue it on there that I get it nice and level so that the swing is going to sit right. And even though I didn't use chains or anything like that, you can still swing this. It's super functional and cute. So just gluing on this side. And this is the basic structure of the little porch swing. It's so cute. You could decorate this for spring or summer, really anything. This would look great outside on your porch as well. So cute. I'm just going to kind of burn off the fuzzies on the twine, just using a lighter. And now comes the fun part. We can decorate this. So we need somebody to lay on it, right? So I got one of these little laying down frogs from the Dollar Tree. Absolutely adorable. And he's the perfect size. Look, he is going to lay on our little porch swing for spring. Now, I thought he needed a few spring pillows to kind of brighten it up. So I found this great like flower fabric at the Dollar Tree, and I thought we could make some very simple little like no-sew pillows. So I'm just going to cut out some fabric. And look at our little frog over there just swinging away. He's enjoying himself. And I'm just going to cut down. I have it kind of doubled up. I want to cut down 2 pillows, just about the right size for this little guy. At first, I was going to do like a rectangle like that, but I decided it might be a little too big, so I do kind of cut them down more into squares. And this is going to be just a super easy pillow. I'm just going to hot glue down the sides, leaving one side open so that I can stuff it. And I always have like an old bed pillow. I always save our old bed pillows and stuff like that. So I always have like a source of polyfill for crafting. And so that is what I'm going to use to stuff it. But you could stuff it with really anything. They're so small. Now this one I have to do 3 sides to glue down because the other one was kind of at a seam. I only had to do 2 sides because one side was still attached. Just leaving that one side open. It's just going to be big enough for me to get a little bit of stuffing in there and make some little spring pillows. This was so much fun. This is I did like kind of 2 like kind of small miniature scale projects today, and they were just so much fun to put together. So not much fluff fits in there, but I'm going to try to fill them up pretty good. If you have any, like if you're getting any little strings coming off there, you can just trim them up, of course, because it's not sewn or anything like that. It could look a little rough, but you can cut it up to make it pretty good, look pretty good. So we have our 2 little spring pillows, perfect for our little frog who's relaxing. And I thought those were really cute, but I thought, you know, he needed much more spring decorations to kind of make this look like a spring DIY. So we're going to kind of decorate the whole little swing. Isn't he cute? I love him just sitting there without a care in the world. I want to be him. Can I be him? So I thought flower pots would be perfect. We have those little shelves on the sides, and they have these little teeny tiny flower pots for in the spring section at Dollar Tree. And then I also wanted to do a flower. So I thought it would be really pretty to take some like pink flowers from the Dollar Tree, some small ones there, and some of this green floral wire from the Dollar Tree, and just kind of string that along the top of the porch swing, kind of like, you know, like a little arbor or something like that, to make it look like it's all growing with flowers. But I'm just going to wire it on. So if I wanted to remove this later, if I wanted to change, you know, the look of it for seasons or whatever, I can always easily remove it. So I just cut down all of the flowers off that little flower arrangement from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to start with the green floral wire. I was excited to find this at Dollar Tree because it's going to match in with the green stems. You're not going to be able to see it. And then I'm just going to kind of alternate kind of randomly which way I'm going to attach these to kind of make it look like it's cascading down the top of this. So just kind of cutting off a piece so I can kind of get it around there easily without interfering with anything, and trying to kind of avoid where I put the twine because I don't want to mess up the hanging of that little porch swing. And gonna go all the way across, trying to make sure that I don't mess him up. I kind of keep him straight in there. And that one little sprig of pink flowers was the perfect amount to go all the way across the top. Now, since I have those little ledges that we left at the bottom where the easel would hold up artwork or whatever, they even have little ledges on there. So I think they're perfect for those flower pots. And I got a package of 3 there, but I'm going to use a total of 4. I had 1 left over from one of my other spring DIY videos that I did last week. And so I have 2 big ones and 2 small ones. Now you could leave them natural wood like that, but I wanted them to look nice and springy. And the color scheme that I've been using for all my spring DIYs is like this light turquoise color and like pink or salmon. So I mixed turquoise together with white to give me this beautiful light turquoise color. And I'm just going to simply paint the outside of all of these little flower pots. And you can get creative with this. You could do like different colors. These are just the perfect size. You know, I use these on that tier tray that I did in my spring video. And then I used them on these, so I was out of them again. So I just picked more up because I think they're so cute. Because I think they would be really good like legs for like risers and stuff too. They're just so versatile. So cute. So we got all 4 painted that light turquoise color. I also painted the tops. You're not going to be able to see inside, so I think that's going to work. And now we just need to fill them with flowers. So I just picked like some arrangements from the Dollar Tree that have like little tiny flowers. I've been trying to use that a lot lately. I think they're really versatile. I have so many big Dollar Tree flowers. Sometimes it's fun to craft with these little tiny ones. And trying to keep in my color scheme too of like pinks. So I just start trimming off some of the flowers, but leaving some of the stem in there. I was thinking we can just glue them in. It's not going to require any foam or anything like that because these little flower pots are so tiny. So I did like the pink and yellow, the pink and the white, and just put a dot of hot glue in the bottom and then stick the little plastic stems down in that, and easy peasy, you have a little flower pot. So cute. I wanted to kind of alternate what kind of flowers were in each one. So I'm going to do the larger pot in the back. The smaller pot, I'm just going to fill with some white flowers and some of these light pink flowers in that pot, and then some of the pink and yellow ones on this one on the other side. And I'm not going to glue these pots to the side because, again, I want to be able to switch this out. But if you were going to use it outside, you would definitely want to glue or secure these down. But I'm just going to kind of sit these on the little shelves to decorate. And he is ready for spring. Check him out. Doesn't he look cute and relaxed for spring? And this is how he turned out. Our little frog relaxing in the little porch swing, ready for spring. I love him. Okay, our next DIY, I wanted to do a cute little spring wreath. So I'm going to use one of the little wood bead wreaths from the Dollar Tree. These are kind of a medium-sized wreath. They're not super big, but I thought we could make it look really sweet. So we're going to be using some of these soft pink peonies from the Dollar Tree. And I want to do like a total of 3 of these. I love the shade of pink. It's very soft. So I'm just going to take these off. There's different sizes. There's like larger ones like this, but there's also smaller ones too. So I was trying to decide if I wanted to do like 3 large ones or if I wanted to go back and do like a large one in the middle and a small one on each side. And I thought that looked a little bit better. And again, those are all on the same stem. And I'm actually going to do it where the wire comes together down there. That way the top of my wreath looks pretty with all the wood beads and all of that will be hidden. I wanted to kind of iron these out a little bit because you know Dollar Tree flowers can get a little bent and not look their best. But a great trick for this is just to use your hot gun. You can like almost like iron them a little bit, get them to do exactly what you want to do with a little bit of heat, straighten everything out. And so I'm going to do that with all 3 of them, make them look their best since they're going to be displayed on this wreath. And then I'm also going to be adding some Dollar Tree lamb's ear and some of those little pink berries. I thought that'd be really pretty at the bottom of the wreath. And this turned out just so pretty. I love it. This is the lamb's ear that I'm going to use. And I'm going to actually kind of separate the leaves into like individual leaves because I want to like have it kind of gradually going up the sides of the wreath a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull them off. They pull right off on these Dollar Tree stems, so that is really easy. And I'm going to go ahead and start with 8 here. And then these are the little berries. These are actually from the Easter aisle at Dollar Tree right now. They have a slight shininess or glitter, but nothing too obnoxious, so I think this is going to work well. I'm just going to take 2 that are approximately the same size and just pull those off as well. Now, I thought the sturdiest way to do this would be to use some floral wire. So I'm using some floral wire from the Dollar Tree, and I'm actually going to wire all this to the wreath, and it actually ended up pretty sturdy. I didn't think hot glue was going to do a great job here. And so I just went ahead and wrapped that around the stem of my largest flower. And I actually fed the wire through like the metal circle there at the bottom to secure this. And then I made sure to leave the wire long enough for both sides so that I can use that to wire up. I kind of went behind and I skipped a couple of beads, and then I can go in and wire on my next flower. And once you get started on it, it worked pretty well. I'm not a big fan of using wires for wreaths like this, but I'm glad I did because this is really actually pretty sturdy in the end. So again, I'm going to skip 2 rows of the wood beads, and this is all going to be covered in flowers down here anyway, so you don't really have to worry if your wire is showing there, but I did try to kind of go behind. And then I just wrap that tightly around this one as well. Pull it around and wire it in between the wood beads for a nice tight fit. So I think that's all for the flowers. Now we can start on the lamb's ear. They don't really have much of a stem on them. So I'm actually just going to take the wire and wrap it around the end as close as I can get, and then wrap that around as well. What I did was I went on the same row with the first flower, and then or the first leaf, and then I skipped 1 row of the beads, and then I wired on my next. And I'm going to do that like kind of going up the side. I don't want them all like going exactly the same direction and stuff like that, but I want them to kind of like fill it out, kind of look like a swag. Like I want this one to kind of point more to the side and less down. So again, I just wire that. I still have plenty of the wire there where I can just keep kind of working my way up. Now this one didn't want to stay in too well, didn't get it very tight, so I did fix that one with a little bit of hot glue just to make sure that my leaf stays attached to my wire. Like that. And then I'm going to do another one here, kind of going up as well, and just kind of skipping another row of the wood beads. And I think I actually skipped 2 on this one to kind of, because that leaf was kind of big. So there's plenty of space in between these to display them. And I also attached that one with a little bit of hot glue too, because I wasn't sure about the leaves staying on. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, kind of following the example on the other side. Start with my first leaf on the same one as my flower, and then skipping 1, doing another leaf and wiring it to it. By the end of this, I was actually getting pretty good with the wire. So I might have to use that more. I know I usually like hot glue to wreaths, but a lot of times if you're going to be doing anything outside, especially here in Florida, that hot glue does not hold up great outside. Then I skipped 2 for the final one and wired on this leaf as well. I kind of had my wire cut just perfect. I didn't have to cut anything off or anything at the end. And I just wanted to slightly go up on the sides like that with that soft lamb's ear. I absolutely love this stuff. And then I want like the little pink berries kind of peeking out the side on both sides, kind of breaking up some of the leaf as well. And I'm just going to wire that on as well. They kind of have a hole in the piece from where it was on the stem. And so I'm just going to take advantage of that, put my wire straight through that. So this is good and attached. And then take that wire and put it right where I want it, right about here. I decided to change it up, kind of in between the 2 and the 2. So it has a kind of a background of the leaves. And then I just wire that between the wood beads. There's a little bit of room, you know, to wiggle those wood beads around so you can kind of get a tight fit. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. Now, if yours doesn't have a hole in the top, like this one didn't have a hole in the top, I just cut a hole in the top because that worked so well for the other side. And did my floral wire through there. And again, I'm going to do it between the 2 and 2 leaves like this. And I'm going to add a few more of the lamb's ear leaves to this to kind of fill it out a little bit more. But this is basically everything that I'm going to wire to it. because as you can see, it's getting pretty full down there, at least like being wired to the actual wreath. And then I just kind of fluff everything out, make sure everything is covered. I don't really want you to be able to see any of the wire and stuff. And that's why I'm going to add a few more of the leaves to kind of cover that up and just to make it a little bit fuller. So I grabbed two of the ones that were kind of attached like that. And I'm just going to hot glue those kind of on top of the other ones where that all kind of comes together and you can't see any of the wire that's keeping everything together. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I just love the look of the soft pink flowers with the lamb's ear. I did this color scheme for one of my Valentine's Day tier trays this year in my kitchen, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so sweet. So it kind of inspired me to do all of the spring DIYs today. Just cleaning up any hot glue, making sure everything looks good. And all we need now is a hanger. I'm just going to cut some twine from the Dollar Tree, kind of find the center of my wood bead wreath. So this will make it hang properly. Just string between the wood beads and all you got to do is tie a knot. A very simple little wreath hanger, and I love how this turned out. It's so sweet. It's kind of small for a door, so I think I'll hang this probably in my entryway for spring. I have a small wall like when you first walk in. I think it'll look really pretty there. And this is how it turned out, our little pink flower spring wreath. I just love that combination of those colors together. I think it's so pretty. What do you guys think about my spring wreath? Okay, next DIY. I want to DIY one of these little wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. Again, with some of those beautiful pink floral stickers from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove my hanger. And I want to frame it out too. So I'm going to be framing it out with some of those cube wood beads from the Dollar Tree. I think these are so cool. And since they lay flat, they do a great job of framing out projects like that from the Dollar Tree. So this is the color I'm going to use of acrylic paint. It's called Pink Polish. And as you can tell, I'm not going for maximum coverage on this. I actually just kind of want to stain it. So I'm not going to use too much paint. Just enough to kind of give me a pink stain. After I put that on there, I just go over it with a wet baby wipe. And that way the wood grain of that sign shows through, so I'm not really covering that up. And it makes it look a little bit more older and vintage, which is definitely what I was going for on this project. I wanted to do a really pretty spring floral sign. So I just stained it, gave it a quick dry. It was a little bit rough, so I gave it a little bit of a sand to get some of that fuzziness off the wood. And then this is the flower sticker we're going to use. This is a very soft pink, which is one reason why I chose to stain the sign kind of a little bit more of a candy pink, because I want it to be a little bit of a contrast, but definitely go with my pink floral theme that we've been using today. So I kind of like it going straight up and down like that. It's going to fit nicely. I'm going to carefully pull this off. I don't want to rip any of it. And peel and stick this to my sign. If you're going to stain or paint your sign, make sure it's good and dry. Otherwise, it's not going to stick very well. I just go ahead and flatten that out. As you can see, I kind of centered it on the wood ring. But then I'm going to leave the wood cubes natural color like that. I thought that'd be a nice contrast against the soft pink shades. But I do want to make sure that it stays down. So I'm just going to sand it a little bit just to rough up again the sticker. I kind of like that distressed look. These don't sand as well as the other ones. They kind of do a dotted aging, but it's still kind of made it look old. But I do want to seal this project because I wasn't certain this was going to stay on there really well. So I just went over the top of all of it with some Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree and sealed this sign before we go in and frame it out with the wood beads. And then I thought it needed even a little bit more distressing. So then I just went in with just some white and a chunky brush. And if I distressed a little bit too much on it, I would just go over it with a baby wipe, kind of blending it all together. Again, I was going very kind of
old school, like Victorian vibes with this spring DIY, so I definitely wanted it to look vintage. So I just keep kind of distressing. I kind of try to distress it similar to the way the sticker distressed as well until I got the perfect level of distress. And then I'm going to add the wood bead garland to the front of it. Now they kind of wind this around so it doesn't fall off, but that also keeps the wood beads from moving side to side and it kind of makes it get in the way. I'm also going to reattach the hanger, but this time I'm going to go from the back to the front, tie a knot, cut off the little plastic part. That way it's going to hang flatter against my wall and it's not really going to be able to see the little hangers there on the front too much, just a small knot. So I do need to untangle this end to kind of make this work, and it's a little bit better to do this at the beginning so that all of your wood cubes are free flowing. You just kind of have to string that out, and I'm gonna need two to go around this entire wood round because even though these are super cute from the Dollar Tree, they're not super long. And I just go ahead and open at least one end of this one. I probably don't need the other end. And we can start gluing this on. What this is going to do is take this flat sign and make it so much chunkier. And it's just a really easy way to kind of provide a frame for an abnormal shape like this. Like something I'm definitely not going to be able to have a frame for. And I like the added depth, it really helps. So I'm just kind of doing like a quarter at a time and gluing all of my wood beads to it, but leaving them strung together because that's going to kind of help guide it, keep them all attached to each other. But I am trying to glue down every single one, just trying to make sure that I don't overlap the edges too much so I still get that perfect like circular shape. And this is about how far one package will go. So I'm just going to tie the twine to my next package. And I can just push my wood beads up that and continue going with the same pattern all the way around. And I do like the contrast of the natural wood. I'm going to be adding another accent that color too that kind of ties it all together. And I'm glad that I decided not to paint or stain this part of it because I think it turned out really cool. And actually fit perfectly here at the end. You never really know with spacing. And so I just glued that, tied both my strings together, making sure all the wood beads are then tied together. Now this is what I'm going to use to finish it off. This is a vase filler that I found at Target. It's back where the driftwood was at Target. And I have bad news about the driftwood. At least at my Target, they quit carrying it. I have no idea why. It was one of my favorite products in the vase fillers. But these little paper flowers are kind of cool. They're kind of like a paper, kind of like foamy feel. Not really sure what these are made out of. But I chose like a larger one and two small ones. And they're like the same color as the unfinished wood on the frame. So I thought this would tie it in nicely and give another little floral touch. And kind of a larger, more substantial piece as well to make it thicker. So I'm just going to start here with the larger flower, gluing that down, and then glue a smaller flower on each side, just kind of making it kind of over here on the bottom right to kind of give it kind of a wreath feel there as well. And this is how it turned out. I think it's really sweet and romantic looking. Our little pink floral wall hanging for spring. It definitely has that aged look that I was going for. And I'm a big fan of those flowers from Target. I think they're so pretty. And they add another little fun spring element to this DIY sign. Just an idea of something that you can do with those little floral stickers from the Dollar Tree.
Now I wanted to make a tier tray. I have one of these little seagrass like tier trays from the dollar spot at Target. Super little, but I thought we could decorate it with some fun spring garden supplies. So I got these little garden gloves at the Dollar Tree, and they're just perfect. They're that beautiful like aqua blue color. They have like the pink flowers all over, And I'm just going to like kind of leave them together like that. Just take the package off and lay them on my little tier tray. This is just a little tiny tier tray, but it's super fun to decorate with some fun spring DIYs. Next up is a little frog that I got at the Dollar Tree. He's super cute, and I thought we could decorate him up a little bit. He's something that you might find in a spring garden, but I want him to look like he's like poking his little head out of a flower. Now, I didn't have any more of those like salmon color flowers, but I did have some of these pink roses left over from Valentine's Day, so I thought we could make it work. So I'm just going to take that apart using some of the big petals. We're just going to start hot gluing those around the little frog face. I thought this would be a really fun way to bring in a flower to the tier tray and a frog because he's super cute. They have these in all different positions, like laying on their backs. This one looks like he's like getting ready to hop. But I'm just gluing each petal around, and you could do this with any flower you've got. Maybe a little petal would look even better. And I'm just going to keep going around until his face is completely like surrounded by flower petals. And it is a little bit pinker than I was going with, and you will see that I am going to update the color a little bit. But for now, this is our little frog peeking out of a flower, which I think is really sweet. So he's ready to go. He is rather bigger though, so he is going to have to go on the bottom. I think next to the gardening gloves. Super cute, super springy. I love him. And then I don't have very much room left on the bottom, but I thought we could throw another flower in there. And I have some of these like aqua colored flowers from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to pull one off and use that to fill in. I tried to put it back together, but I'm just going to kind of put them in there separately. And the bottom tier of that tier tray is ready to go. And now we just need to decorate the top. I found this great little house at the fairy garden section at Dollar Tree. It's got pink flowers on top, and it's actually painted really nicely. So we're just going to kind of stand that one up here in the back of that tiered tray. And I have room for maybe a couple more things. I found this little garden pick from the Dollar Tree, and I love it. It's a little metal watering can. It's so cute. And it's on a little stake, but I thought we could just wiggle that and pop it off, and it was super easy, as you can see. Isn't that adorable? I love it, the metal like that, so I'm just going to leave it as is, and it's the perfect size for the top of my tier tray here. Now I do have like just a little bit of room left there, but I thought we could decorate it a little bit. So I'm going to use just some of this reindeer moss from the Dollar Tree, kind of fill in that shelf, and any like open areas, I can just kind of use that as filler. That looks really springy. Totally kind of goes with the garden vibe. And I'm going to put a little bit on the bottom as well, just to fill that in. And then I do still have that little bit of space there, and I found the cutest little wood flower pots at the Dollar Tree in the garden section. How cute are these? I thought about painting them, but I thought they kind of looked really cute wood, so I'm just going to toss a couple of them in there. I'm going to use the two smaller ones and just kind of throw them about like pots that haven't been quite used yet. And that's it. Easy peasy, just a tiny little tier tray with some more spring DIYs and finds. And I think this is going to go nicely with everything else that we've made today. Now, I told you I was going to update the color of the frog. I decided I wanted to be more of that salmon color, and so I just actually distressed the leaves with my color I was using, and that helped tie it in together. And this is how it turned out, our little spring tier tray.
Sometimes you really just want like an easy spring tier tray, and this definitely fits the bill for that. I put this in my entryway for spring, and I think it's so cute. I love the little touches, like the little watering can and the garden gloves like that.
Okay, our first bird DIY. We're going to do a bird in a bird cage. And I found the cutest little bird cage at the Target dollar spot. It's like white iron. It has like a wood base and it is perfect. You could try DIYing your own. I've seen some ideas with like the football wreath forms or the trash baskets, but for $5 at the Target dollar spot, I would highly recommend just buying this because look how cute it is. Now, what I want to DIY though is a bird to go inside of it. Now, the only bird I could find this size at Dollar Tree was this ugly little bird cat toy. So we're going to DIY this and make this super cute. A cute little bird to go inside the birdhouse. Now, this has like a funny little tail on it. And so that's the first thing we're going to do is just snip that off to get it out of the way. I basically just want the plush bird form. And I'm going to cover this with burlap. So I think the wings might get in the way. So we're just going to go ahead and snip those off as well. And we are just going to cover this whole thing. It is blue and you're going to kind of be able to see through the burlap a little bit, but that's okay. Blue's kind of my theme today. So this is just a scrap of Dollar Tree burlap that I had left over from my Easter video. I had a lot of comments worried I was wasting my scrap burlap, but I always use my scraps, people. Come on. Okay, so what I want to do is have enough burlap to go over both sides of my bird to kind of like sandwich it in there. So I cut down a piece that's enough to like cover the whole thing. And then what I'm going to do is go with my hot glue and I'm going to go all the way around the bird, kind of sketching out the shape of the bird, but kind of on the outside of it. So I have enough room to glue the burlap to itself all along the edges of the bird to keep that cute little bird shape, which is really what I wanted. I was having trouble finding a bird this size for sure at the Dollar Tree. Their selection's not great when it comes to birds. But see what I did? I just glued that all the way around that. So now that I glued it and it dried, I can just use my scissors and cut the glued part all the way around into the shape of a little bird. Now, I didn't have it quite glued all the way, so I am going to just glue that section down right there and just kind of trim it up a little bit. And you can kind of tell it's still a bird, but it'll look like a bird when we're done with it. Now, these are new at the Dollar Tree. They're burlap leaves. They also have burlap flowers that I'm going to be using later on in another DIY. But look how cute these are. They are like white and brown burlap. There's like 2 different sizes and they're little leaves. But I thought they'd make really cute feathers for our little DIY bird. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use like, I think both colors. They're kind of sealed, and so they don't fray or anything like that. You know, they're kind of cut out perfectly. So that is going to be great for this project. So let's start putting this cute little bird together. This was one of my favorite projects today, for sure. I'm going to go ahead and just start gluing some tail feathers on both sides of our bird. The little brown ones, and then some of the white burlap leaves. And I think I'm going to do like 3 on each side, just kind of flaring them out, kind of alternating colors too. Now for the wings, I'm also going to use the little leaves. I'm going to use 2 on each side, like a white one and a brown one. Isn't that cute? It's starting to look like a bird a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it on the other side too. I want like a 3-dimensional bird that can be in our little bird cage. Okay, it's looking pretty cute. It's got a nice bird shape. It does need eyes though. So I thought I would use some Dollar Tree buttons for some eyes. So I'm just trying to find like some black ones that are about the same size. And just going to glue one of those on each side of my bird to make some cute little eyes. Super easy. I'm just kind of doing the flat side up. And those are pretty similar. Okay, so our bird has wings, it has feathers. I kind of want a beak shape here, and so I'm just going to cut that into a tip, the little part that was glued, so it looks like the bird now has a little beak there. Just going to clean up any of the hot glue on the burlap with my heat gun. The heat gun kind of like either it'll melt the glue or make it where it's easy to remove, so you can clean that all up. And it's looking really cute. I do want to add like a little bit more detail to the beak though. So I'm just going to take like an orange Sharpie, works great on burlap, and just kind of color that in on both sides to give a little orange beak. And now I kind of want to do like a nest on the bottom of our birdcage. I thought that'd be cute. And Dollar Tree has been getting some different like floral moss. This one is like brown. And I thought this would be great. The only thing is it was really dry and kind of messy. So I'll show you how I kind of overcome that issue. I'm just going to kind of measure out enough that's going to cover like the base of the bird cage and then kind of put it off to the side. You can tell by looking at the tray how crazy messy that stuff is. And so once I get like a little, floral moss, I guess, patty, I'm going to take some of that spray adhesive from the Dollar Tree and spray it down pretty good. Go over it with my heat gun and dry it. It didn't melt like some of the things I've seen with heat at Dollar Tree. And then I'm just going to do that a couple of times till it kind of sticks together a little bit and makes it just a little bit less messy. I'm just going to scoop that up and lift that back onto my bird cage, and that looks way better. Now they also have this green lycopodium, I guess it's called. I thought it was really pretty too. So I thought we'd do a combination of like a brown and a green nest just to give a little bit more color. Kind of sitting this one on top, just kind of making a little ring for our little burlap bird to sit in. It's kind of cool. I've never really DIY'd with that before. And it's a perfect little nest for our bird. I'm just going to put some hot glue down on the moss so that my bird stays in place and glue him down to his cute little nest. Now my bird is a tiny bit bigger than my bird cage, but it works because, there's holes in the side. So he's going to be like just poking out a little bit. And so I think that looks pretty good. Let me give you a little close-up of this cute little bird. I love him. Isn't he adorable? And then all I got to do is put the top of the bird cage on. And our first bird DIY is complete. I love the bird cage. It's so cute. If you see it at Target, you should really pick one up. And this is how it looks in my home. If you wanted to hang it, you could, but then you would have to glue the base on. And I kind of want it where I can switch it out for different seasons because it's so adorable.
I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this DIY? For the next one, I wanted to do a spring candle. So I picked up one of these little candle holders from the Dollar Tree and a little candle stick. And I thought we could put this all together for a really beautiful spring candle. I want to, again, use the lamb's ear, but I kind of want to do like a lamb's ear garland that wraps around the candle. I thought that would look really pretty for spring. And I love the little pink candlestick, so that goes with our soft pink color. And then I just got an ivory like pillar candle at Dollar Tree. Now I'm cutting all the leaves in individual pieces. I was trying to do small ones, maybe a larger one here and there, whatever will work. But since I'm going to be making my own garland, I don't want it to have much of a stem. I just kind of want it to cascade like around like if I actually had a small lamb's ear garland. So I just went and trimmed the stems off all of them. I thought that would make more sense. And I'm actually just going to use some twine from the Dollar Tree to build our little DIY vine. Now I just take some hot glue right here on the back of my lamb's ear and glue that on like that. And then I can just kind of alternate which way the leaves go. So I kind of flipped it upside down so I can glue the twine on. And I'm not really measuring. I'm just kind of estimating about where I would want, how full I want my garland to be. And I'm just going to make my own little DIY lamb's ear garland. I thought that would be easier and maybe help it like all stay attached to it as well. And as you can see, I'm kind of alternating sizes, doing like 2 small, 1 large until I go through those. And then I'm going to kind of see if that is enough to kind of go all the way through. I didn't think it was, so I'm going to add just maybe a couple more here of the smaller leaves. And I was doing the smaller ones at the top. So let's see if that's enough to go all the way around. Looks pretty good. Maybe one more here would be perfect. And then I just cut off the twine and we have our little lamb's ear garland. I'm not really going to do anything to the pink candlestick or anything like that, but I do want to decorate this little candle holder. So I'm actually hot gluing the leaves themselves to the glass. I thought that would be easier than trying to glue the twine to it, but the twine I think is going to help everything stay together as well. But I thought it would be a little bit more secure if I hot glue this to the outside. And I want to be able to burn this candle, so I don't really want anything that's going to interfere with that or get in the way. I just kind of want all of this to be on the outside. And I thought it would look really pretty when I light the candle up, being able to see like the leaves wrapped around it on that soft pink candlestick. And I love how this turned out. It was pretty easy to do. Now, some of my larger leaves were a little too big, so I'm just going to kind of trim those down. I didn't want this one to be like, longer than the candle holder itself. And I also didn't want anything to catch on fire. I had one kind of going up here a little bit too high. So I just trimmed that down to size, kind of made it more a medium size. Pretty easy to get that shape. And then just making sure all of my leaves are attached really well and I've cleaned up any of my strings of hot glue. I'm not going to glue this to it. It fits on there perfectly. That way I'll be able to reuse the candlestick later. And then we can just add our little pillar candle. It fits in there perfectly. It's just a vanilla scent from Dollar Tree, and this is how it turned out, our little spring candle holder. So we didn't really do flowers on this one, but we did do the soft pink. We did do the lamb's ear, and I think it turned out really kind of soft and romantic and sweet. This is it, and I will show it to you lit up as well, so you can kind of see that as well, to kind of see the effect that it gives you, wrapping it in that. And I think it turned out really sweet. I'm glad I decided to DIY my own lamb's ear. This is how it looks lit up. Isn't that cute?
Let's DIY a wall succulent garden using one of these boxes I got on clearance after Christmas at the Target dollar spot. If you weren't as lucky to find these, they have them every year, it seems. You could also use like the smaller version available at Dollar Tree, or you could get the individual boxes at the Dollar Tree and just glue them together in any pattern like this you wish, like the 3x2. And we're going to fill them with succulents. So I'm just going to kind of use whatever floral foam I have left over from other projects from the Dollar Tree to try to fill this up. It doesn't have to be filled up all the way, but I'm going to need enough foam in there to be able to put the succulents in. And so I'm just going to kind of piece together the pieces that I have. You're not going to be able to see them, so it's not going to matter if it looks like a hot mess in there. And then I gathered all my succulents I've used in previous DIYs or that I had laying around from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to make a succulent wall garden. Now, since it's going to be hanging on the wall, I don't want these falling out, so just securing all of the foam to the back of the box. And then we can start filling this with succulents. Now I have like succulents in pots from the Dollar Tree. I have the succulent stems. I have some that are in like glass sand jars. I have like, basically I went and grabbed all my succulents. I always save them after DIYs or tier trays and stuff like that. So this is a great use for them. Now, since it's going to hang on the wall, I need a hanger. And so I'm going to use one of these these are the sawtooth hangers that have the nails already attached. My absolute favorite. I think I got these at, I don't know, Home Depot or Walmart. Probably need to pick some more up because they're so easy. Just nail it right in there, and now we have a hanging shelf. The Christmas trees part is on the top of the sign, luckily, so I don't have to worry about painting the sides or anything like that. You're not going to be able to see it when I hang this up on the wall. Now, these blue ones, the blue succulents from the Dollar Tree, are my favorite. The stems are a little too long, so I'm just cutting those down with some floral scissors from the Dollar Tree, kind of spreading those out. But I do want like a variety of colors, so I'm going to mix like yellows, browns, greens. I'm going to try to make it as colorful as I can for spring. I kind of want them to look like flowers, but a different kind of a flower thing. Now, if you wanted to get real ambitious, you could do this with real succulents. And that would be great for like a spring porch DIY or patio. That'd be so cute. So this is about the level of plant that I can keep alive, which I can't keep any plant alive. Now, some of these didn't have stems, so I'm just kind of mixing and matching, and we're going to make this work one way or another. I want like at least 2 in each box. We can fill in the rest of that later, but I want the box to be as full as I can. And I really love the variety of the succulents and the different colors. Just for a little variety, I'm going to put 3 in that one. And just waiting for the glue to dry on this stem, we can put that in there. Some of these succulents I've had forever. I had to glue them back together just because they were falling apart. And then to cover up all the mess that you can see, I'm just going to use some Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree. Just hot gluing that to the foam that is exposed, and that's going to give it a beautiful finished look for our little wall succulent garden. Isn't this cute? This was so fun to put together, and I just love how it turned out. Just making sure I have enough. I don't want to see any of the foam. And I think I got it pretty full. What do you think? And this is how it looks hanging on my wall for spring. I did a display at my entryway, and this was hanging front and center.
And all of these DIYs kind of coordinate together for spring. And I will show you how they all look hanging together. But this was a really fun DIY.
Okay, next DIY. This is a shelf I got at the Target dollar spot for $5. You can kind of work with whatever you have. The thing I liked about this is that it was simple and it had the little pegs that I want to use for this DIY. It's also got a shelf so I can put some springy stuff up there as well. And it's this beautiful raw wood. And so we're going to paint it ivory. So just using ivory acrylic, we're going to go over this entire shelf and paint it. Now, if you couldn't find this and you wanted to build it, I think it would be really easy. You could use like 2 pieces of craft wood from the Dollar Tree, gluing or screwing those together just in an L shape. And then you could use little dowels for the pegs. It'd be super easy to recreate, but if you can find it for $5, I would say invest. And so I'm just going over the top of the shelf, anywhere you're going to be able to see. Then I'm going to go over and sand it a little bit as well. Just to kind of rough it up and give it that coastal feel again. Basically, I want like the same distressing on this one that we did on the first one. So again, chippy brush, Antique Wax by Waverly. I like to try to work in one direction, lightly distressing, sometimes heavily distressing. But if you use a baby wipe and you're quick, you can kind of rub that all in and forgive any errors. And you can always go back in with your original color of paint and distress as well. I'm going to use that to distress all over to kind of give it a uniform coastal appearance. And even though you're probably not going to be able to see it, I'm going to go ahead and do the top of the shelf as well, in case, I ever use the shelf somewhere where you might be able to see it up there as well. And what I wanted to do with this is I thought I could put some plants and I found this great little spring artwork at the Target dollar spot, but I wanted to look like I had flowers being dried hanging from the pegs. And so this is the greenery that I found from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to kind of mix up different colors, purples, yellows, but I love this frosty look to the leaves. I think that kind of makes them look like they're dried out. And then to make them look like they're tied up, I am just going to go with jute twine from the Dollar Tree and wind that around them. That's also going to serve as a hanger, and then cut off the end using some wire scissors, trying to get through that. That was kind of tough. And making it a little longer than it needs to be. And then I'm just going to make a little loop so I can have a hanger, and then wrap that around, and I'm going to tie that off. That way it's going to look like I'm drying flowers on the wall. I thought that would look really fun for spring. And these little flowers from the Dollar Tree is definitely a cheap, economical way to get that look. So that is how I have it all tied up. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing with the other one. I'm just using that real tiny twine from the Dollar Tree. You could always use something thicker and you might not have to go around as many times, but then making a loop and tying that off. Super easy. And then just removing the end. I found that my floral scissors didn't work as well as my heavy KitchenAid scissors on that stem. And then we're going to do the same thing here with flower number 3, since we had 3 pegs on there. Just trying to make them all about the same height with their little loops. Tying and trimming and cutting off the stem. Couldn't be any easier, and this turned out so cute. So this is how it looks in my entryway. Our little flowers being dried on the wall. Super cute. Now, this isn't a DIY, but this is a cute little spring sign that I found at the Target dollar spot, and I love it because it had a special message for me, because my son used to always love dandelions and be like, flowers, look at all the flowers when they would bloom, back when we lived in the Midwest. So I thought that was a really funny saying. May all your weeds be wildflowers. I'm going to use that up on that little shelf that we just made.
And I really love how it all looks together. I paired it up with some dollar spot greenery there that I got, that little tree, which is really cute. And then, of course, it's got the little pegs on there with the dried flowers that we DIY'd with supplies from the Dollar Tree. And it's kind of a fun way to do the dried flowers, like a faux version. Those flowers from the Dollar Tree, I think, are perfect for that.
This isn't a DIY either, but I thought I would just show it to you. I got this at the Target dollar spot, and I'm going to use this for that decor as well. It's a beautiful blue and ivory birdhouse. I don't really like the look of the chain on it though, so I'm just going to remove that. I don't really have a bird or anything to put in this, so I'm just going to use some Spanish moss, kind of fill that up, kind of make it look like there's a bird nest in there. And then just replace the little hanging chain on the top. And I thought this would go great with all of these DIYs that I'm making for spring for my entryway. So just tucking that in there. It's okay if a little bit sticks out. Just gonna make it look super cute. And how cute is that birdhouse? I love the Target dollar spot when I can actually find stuff. Mine has been lacking lately. They have all the Valentine's Day stuff now when it's a little too late. So I'm just going to replace that hanger at the top with some of this thicker twine. This is the kind that you get at Walmart. And I'm just going to tie a simple little loop. I thought that looked a little bit more like coastal vibes than the chain. A little prettier. And then I'm just going to burn off the fuzzies with a lighter, because sometimes that twine from Walmart is pretty rough.
And let me show you how cute this little birdhouse turned out. Sometimes a Target dollar spot or maybe a Dollar Tree Plus find can be easier than trying to make it yourself. But I think the colors are perfect and they looked great when I added it with some greenery here to my console table.
Okay, are you ready for another spring DIY? I thought we could use these adorable little chunky, I guess they're called breadboards, from the Dollar Tree, and three of the little Dollar Tree wood signs and a plunger handle. And I thought we could build a toolbox that we could fill with flowers for spring. I've seen some really pretty flowers in toolboxes, and I thought, that'd be really kind of fun to try to make. But I've actually seen these for sale at the Target dollar spot since I made this. So you could cheat, I guess, but it was really kind of fun to put this together. Now, the plunger handle is a great dowel for $1.25. The only challenging part is getting that sticky sticker off. So I'm just going to use some heat and a blade, and we're just going to scrape that off. Now, since all of this is going to be raw wood, you could like stain this. Probably do it now if you're going to stain it or use Antique Wax by Waverly. I'm going to paint mine, or you could leave it natural wood. It's really pretty. But that is the advantage of using all of this real wood stuff. And I love how much wood stuff they have at the Crafter Square anymore. They're really bringing it for us crafters, and I appreciate it. Dollar Tree, I see ya. So I'm just going to remove the hangers from these three signs. They make those signs in two different sizes. I think that this is the smaller one. It's a perfect size for this DIY. I need one for the bottom and then one for each side. I'm just going to stand the little breadboards up like that, and it's going to make the perfect sides for a little toolbox. Now, I'm just using Gorilla Glue hot glue. I find that it works really good for wood. You could always use wood glue if you'd like, or you could even nail or screw this together if you wanted yours to be really heavy duty. But we're just going to use hot glue here. And so I just try to keep that as square as I can. And just trying to clean up this second one. We're going to do the same thing here on the other side. And can you kind of see how it's coming together? These are like the sides of the toolbox. And then I'm going to put another sign on the front and the back, and the plunger handle is going to be the handle for the toolbox. It's kind of a small one, but it was perfect for what I needed in my entryway. So I'm just kind of making sure everything looks square, and then we can go ahead and start attaching the side. Now, it's not quite as long as the sides as that breadboard. Just trying to decide exactly where I want it. It's okay if there's a little gap at the bottom, because I'm not going to be putting any dirt or anything in there. If you were, you would probably want it to be a little bit more secure there. But I'm just going to hot glue that to this breadboard side, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other. I'm not going to worry about the holes in this sign. It's just going to add a little bit more character to the toolbox. And if you wanted, you could even probably put nails in those. So that looks pretty good. So now once the glue dries, we can just flip this over and do the same thing on the other side with that third sign. Now I discovered it'd probably be easier just to put the hot glue on the sides of the breadboard, but don't do like I did, because I put way too much. I forgot that it was taller. So I'm just trying to clean that up while this is drying. And we have pretty much the main structure of the toolbox built like that. Now it is time for the handle. I'm going to use the plunger handle, and the only thing I'm going to need to do is figure out how long it needs to be. Now, if I were smart, I would measure, but I never measure. So I'm like, I'll just put this on here. I'll just draw a line with my pen. I'm going to take it to my saw. I'm going to cut it. It's going to be perfect. But I should have measured, because look, it was a little bit too short. Now, if I wanted to use screws on the end, I could have probably made it work, but I just cut off another sliver of that, and we're just going to patch it and pretend like I measured. Too busy crafting to measure, So once I get it painted, you'll never know that I did that. So I'm going to try it on now to see if it fits. And it fits like a glove. Now I do want that to be glued in, so I'm going to take it out and just put a dot of hot glue on each side and put it back in there before the hot glue sets up. And there is our little toolbox for flowers. My plan is to fill this with tulips for spring, and I think it looks really pretty. I told you guys before that I was going to paint it. I'm going to display this on a blue table in my entryway, so I'm going to do ivory and kind of make it look coastal and distressed in the process. And hey, I have a plunger laying around, so I might as well use it. Works great for holding paint. So we're going to use just ivory acrylic paint and a brush. Basically, I'm going to paint anything that's going to be visible, the handles, the sides, even like the tops of the signs there on the sides, anything that you're going to be able to see. But otherwise, I'm not going to paint the inside and stuff like that, because why paint it if you're not going to be able to see it? So just painting this all over. And again, I think this would be really pretty if you wanted to stain it or something like that too, because you'd bring out all that beautiful wood grain in the wood as well. Just kind of doing a rough and dirty coastal coat. It's okay if some of the wood shows because I'm going to distress it anyway. You know me. So just making sure I have a pretty good coverage. I also sanded down a little bit just because the breadboard was cut a little rough and the signs were cut a little rough in some areas. Just trying to clean it up a little bit. And I like to sand to distress anyway, so we're just going to kind of sand all over. Until it looks a little bit cleaner. And it also gives it a nice light distress on that paint. Now I do want to distress it further, so I'm also going to use some Antique Wax by Waverly and like a little chippy brush from the Dollar Tree, and just working in one direction. I'm going to distress, going over with a baby wipe to kind of remove the excess. I just want a light distress, especially around like the edges, kind of any details. That really gives me that coastal vibe or feel. To the ivory, if you feel like you use too much, you can always go back with your original color and distress it some more. And then I'm also going to do the same thing on each side of our toolbox. Now I'm going to use fake flowers for this, so I'm going to use a floral foam inside. I found some really beautiful tulips at the Target dollar spot, and I thought they'd be perfect for this. So using some Dollar Tree foam, we're going to try to fill this up. It was a little bit bigger than my foam, but that's okay. We will just kind of piece this together with one of the skinnier blocks, just cutting that down to size. We're going to make this work. I love this floral foam from the Dollar Tree because it's so easy to cut. And you know, you can make about anything with it. I've even made buoys out of this floral foam just because it's so easy to carve. Okay, I thought this would be a good time to use some reindeer moss to line the top of it. That way I don't have to go back and try to fill this in after I put the tulips in there. So just kind of doing a layer of reindeer moss all over. This older gentleman at the Dollar Tree had to tell me a joke when I bought my reindeer moss there the other day. He said, "Do you know how fast those reindeer are? We have to like try to catch those to get the moss off of them." I gave him a cute little ha-ha. Now, these are the tulips that I found at the Target dollar spot. I love the colors, and I think they're going to be perfect. I love that there's blue ones, and they're prettier than anything that I've seen at the Dollar Tree, because I've never really seen like a pretty tulip at the Dollar Tree. Post in the comments below if you have. Maybe I've just been unlucky. But I really wanted tulips for this. I thought that would be perfect. So I'm just kind of trying to space them out evenly, alternating the colors up like that. Now, I didn't want it to look like too symmetrical, So the other ones, I'm going to kind of go in and try to like put them in the gaps in between the ones on the other row, the back row, just for a little variety. So about halfway in between, I'm going to put one just to stagger them a little bit. Just kind of mixing the colors up. So I'm going to use like one less on this side because I did that, but I like the variety of it. And that's it. Our little spring toolbox filled with tulips. I love this DIY for spring, and I hope you do too. Now I'm just putting a little bit more reindeer moss in there just to make it look super full. And this is how it turned out. Isn't it pretty?
And I have seen that you can get like a little bit better quality of the tulips from Dollar Tree recently if you wanted to try it with the Dollar Tree flowers instead of the Dollar Spot tulips. But I love the idea of the little toolbox planter. I think those little cutting boards from the Dollar Tree are perfect for that. And this is how it all looks together in my entryway. I think this was a really fun spring display.
We're going to use all of these materials to make a spring sign. So the first thing we're going to start with is one of these wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. I love these things. I have trouble finding them sometimes, so I just bought a whole case of them off the website and picked it up at the store. Easy peasy, and they're so versatile. So first we're just going to take the hanger off, and then I found this beautiful fabric at Dollar Tree. It's like a light aqua color with these like salmon colored flowers all over, and this is exactly the kind of color scheme I want to go with today for these spring DIYs. So I just want to cover the wood round with this beautiful fabric. So to do that, I am just going to lay this down on the back of the fabric. I'm not going to iron it or anything like that. I think it'll be okay. And I'm just going to go around. I'm just going to use a yellow Sharpie just to kind of give me an outline of where to cut that out. Just holding that still. And I thought we could just Mod Podge the fabric onto it. It's going to give us a beautiful floral background. And then I want to use one of those little wood watering can signs from the Dollar Tree to make something really cute for spring. And you know, here in Florida, it's kind of hard to know the seasons, but I am still ready for spring. Summer is my favorite, I think. Even though winter is nice because no bugs, right? So I cut that out and just laying that on top. Might be a little big just because I didn't iron it, but we can always trim it up later. But it looks good. It looks like it's going to cover like the entire wood round. So I'm just going to take some Mod Podge from the Dollar Tree and we are just going to attach it. Now, when I do fabric, I probably do like a thicker layer of Mod Podge than when I'm doing like paper or something like that. I really want it to attach to the fabric. I don't want this going anywhere. And I'm going to be building on the sign, so I do 2 pretty good coats of Mod Podge and then just lay that on there, just flattening it out. I'm not going to Mod Podge or anything on top. I like that fabric texture, but I'm just going to use a paper towel to like smooth that out, kind of soaking that into the material. And then I do have a little excess fabric here around the edges, and I'm just going to trim that off just as close to the edges as I can get with my fabric scissors. And we have a really pretty background going on this sign. Now, I didn't want to leave like the rough like fabric edges around there. I wanted to frame that out in some way. So I thought, you know, I could probably do like a rope frame because the rope would kind of go with the like spring garden look that we're going with today. So I'm going to use like this thinner, like the brown rope. And we're just going to make just a super easy brown rope frame around the edges of this. I kind of like the fact that it makes the sign look a little bit thicker too. I'm not a big fan of the thin signs. So I'm just going to start like probably in the center of the bottom. I kind of know where the hanger is on that, so I know what's top. And I'm just going to do a thin bead of hot glue and just attach that to the sign. I'm working on a silicone mat, so I don't have to worry about the hot glue sticking to that. If you're not, you're probably going to want to pick it up and kind of like sit it on the side, but this is going to give me a really nice clean edge here to my fabric. I love these signs. I do 2 of the watering can signs today, and I just love how they turned out. They were so much fun to put together. So working all the way around to the bottom and gluing that off. It looks pretty good. I like to kind of seal my 2 ends together, kind of make it less of a seam there if you can. And then I always like to burn the fuzzies off my rope just to clean it up a little bit. And I just do that with a lighter. Just burning all the fuzzies off. Now the last thing I need to do to prepare this is to poke holes through the fabric. So just using one of those little cricket weeders from the Dollar Tree, I'm just going to go in from the back and just poke holes in here, and we can make a new hanger. I thought we could incorporate some of these cute white wood beads from the Dollar Tree. I love that they're carrying those now. And then just some of the Dollar Tree thin twine. I like to go in through the back and tie off in the front. I find that the Dollar Tree signs like hang flatter against my wall like that, so that's what we're going to do here. I'm not going to bead the entire thing. I just wanted a few beads, so I'm going to do like 2 white beads like on each side of the hanger, so a total of 4. Just to give a little fun to the hanger. I'm not a big fan of the hangers that they come with because, again, I don't think it hangs very flat with the little thing on it on the back. Okay, so this is the little watering can sign that I want to attach to that. It fits on there perfectly. It definitely fits inside like the rope border, and I love that background. Now, since I want to do like that turquoise color and salmon color, I am going to do the water can in the salmon color. This is just an acrylic paint that I had. I did find that this sign was a little difficult to paint because I had to use a brush to get down in between all of like the letters and the flowers. And you don't want to get too much paint because it like pools around the letters. I did have to go in with a smaller brush too to kind of get in between all those letters, but I finally got it painted. And then I want to kind of stain all of the raised wood on there. So I'm just doing that with some Antique Wax by Waverly and a little makeup sponge and just dragging that over. If I get any on the watering can, that's fine because I can just use that to distress it. I want the watering can to look old and used. I thought about staining the whole watering can in this color and kind of making it look like a rusty watering can, but I really wanted to use some fun springy colors today. That's why I went with the salmon color. So I'm just going over the flowers and the letters, trying to give that stained wood background. At first, I thought about like leaving it just like that, but then I thought it wasn't real, the details weren't really being brought out, and I thought it was a little hard to read. So I'm just distressing it with just a chunky brush from Dollar Tree and some ivory acrylic paint to try to bring out some details, kind of going over it with a baby wipe as well, and just distressing the watering can too. I love that distressed look. And this is what it looks like so far. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the watering can to our beautiful background there just by using some hot glue on the back and laying that down. I found that it attached pretty well even though you are doing it on a fabric surface. I got that fabric down pretty good. Now I want to cover that little hole there on the top, and so I'm just going to take some of that twine from the Dollar Tree and just do a very simple little bow. This is always my trick to cover those holes. I think it adds a cute little detail and it's easier than trying to fill them with spackle and sand and all that kind of stuff. So just trying to get it sized appropriately. Just want a little tiny bow. And it's always better than leaving those holes unfilled. That drives me crazy. Now, I got to this point and I was pretty happy with it, but I thought that it was a little hard to read. So I started distressing it more with some ivory to try to brighten it up. And I do like that more. I guess you could paint all of it white and then distress it. I'm kind of going in the reverse direction by staining it and then making it white. But I did have to go over it a couple of times to brighten that up. I do like that wood stain coming through, but I just thought it was not very bright and that it was kind of hard to read with the wood. So it's going to be mostly ivory. So I'm just going to go over all of that, you know, letting some of that shine through for sure. And I think that really brightened it up, and I was much happier with it, with the bright white, compared to just the brown wood.
And I kind of like the shabby chic vibes on that little watering can, but I love the little items like this that you can find with the spring garden section at Dollar Tree to craft with. Really fun, and I absolutely adore that fabric that is there on the back. I'm also going to DIY a coordinating wood round to go with this as well.
So this is another one that I got. It says, "Welcome to my garden." I think I saw a total of 3 different kinds at the Dollar Tree. And for this one, I found this fabric at the Dollar Tree. It's like a salmon and ivory like stripe. It's not a floral. I kind of wanted another floral that would match my color scheme. But when you're working with Dollar Tree fabric, it's kind of what you can find. So I'm just going to use this, and then I'll try to bring in the flowers later on my watering can. So again, I am just using my yellow Sharpie to draw that out. I love using this craft fabric from the Dollar Tree. I also buy like the white polyester and use sublimation to make my own fabric, which is great. Which reminds me, I haven't done sublimation in a long time. I really need to do that sometime soon. And thank you guys for voting on my video. I wasn't sure what to craft next. I still had a lot of supplies left for Valentine's Day, but it was getting kind of close, so I was afraid to do another one of the videos, and you guys all voted for a spring DIY video, so here we are. So I got that cut to size. I'm going to do the same exact thing that we did before, just doing a nice thick coat of Mod Podge. And then laying that fabric on. I'm going to have like the stripes go vertical, trying to keep them as straight as I can, but covering all of the wood board, and then just rubbing that in with just a paper towel. I find that works good. Otherwise, your fingers could have a little glue on there and they might get stuck. And again, I'm just going to trim off any excess fabric that I have. If you wanted to iron your fabric first, you could probably get a closer cut the first time, but we had lots of DIYs to get knocked out today. So I'm going to do this same rope border as well. So I'm going to use that same package of rope that we used earlier, and we are just going to glue on a rope frame. I thought for this sign we would do like contrasting colors. So the other one had like an aqua flower background with a salmon color watering can. So this one's going to have the salmon color background, and we're going to do like a turquoise color watering can, which you guys know I love my blue colors. They go with all my beachy decor, and it goes really nicely for any holiday. I think I always use it. So that looks pretty good. I got it all glued down, and I'm just going to go around and burn off the fuzzies. Now, as before, we're just going to need to poke some holes back in here. So the easiest way to do that is just through the back with one of those little Cricut tools. And I'm going to make the same exact hanger just to kind of make it go together. I can hang these signs together as a set. One of these would be really cute for your front door as well. And maybe even for your back door if you did have a garden in the back. And just feeding that through after stringing some of those beads on there. I've got those beads like from the Dollar Tree, like in white, black, natural, like stained. They're really coming out with a lot of variety. So that is my little watering can. This one was a little bowed compared to the other one, so make sure that you get a flat one. And I don't know how hard it would be to pop off the flowers and the writing on these. In the past, I've had trouble, and sometimes you destroy it, so that's why I left it on there and just painted it all. And this one I was going over with turquoise. I got to here and I was like, I think this is like a little brighter than I wanted to go. So I do add some ivory to it, tone it down just a little bit. This one I found the flowers weren't as attached down, glued down as the first sign. But again, I kind of wish they would make these as a kit where you could like paint them separately and then glue it together yourself. I guess it would be harder for them to sell that way, but it would be nice because this was just as challenging to paint as the first one, trying to get paint in between all of the letters and the flowers, but at the same time not letting like the paint like pool up by using too much. So that's why I just go in with a small brush and try to get that all clean looking. Now, I told you I wanted to bring flowers in on my watering can because I didn't have any for my fabric. So I found these great rub-on stickers, I guess they're called, from the Dollar Tree. And the colors are really pretty. There's like a salmon color, lots of blues. And I thought this would look really nice on my watering can. And so I'm just going to start picking them out. I was kind of... my preference was for ones that had like that pink color in there. I thought that would be a nice contrast against the turquoise sign. And we're just going to bring the flowers in on the watering can. Now, this does take a minute because, you know, you have to cut out the little piece, stick it on there, scrape it on. If you start pulling off the backing and it's not all transferred, just lay it back down, scrape it some more. I find the end of this little Cricut tool from the Dollar Tree works really good. Sometimes you can get lucky and just like your fingernail can be good enough, but sometimes you have to scrape them quite a bit. So I'm just trying to find, you know, pieces that are the right colors. They're gonna fit. I'm even going to decorate like the handle, pretty much all of the watering can to kind of give it like a, you know, beautiful like wallpaper floral like appearance. And this did take a while. I think this took me about 15 minutes to decorate this whole thing. So I have it like way sped up for you because it was definitely time consuming, but it was fun at the same time. So that looks pretty cool. I'm digging it. Now I'm going to do the same thing that we did before. We're going to stain all of the top wood pieces with some antique wax by Waverly, just dragging that over with a makeup sponge and using any that gets on there just to kind of distress it. That's fine. At this point, I was going to leave it with this like wood with like just distressed in ivory, but after I got both of them done, that's when I decided that I really wanted the flowers and especially the words to be more white because I did find that they were much easier to read in white than in the wood. I kind of wanted to kind of leave it the wood, but it just did not work quite like I had imagined. So that looks pretty good. We got that stain. You have to get that pretty dry when you're painting with that. And then I'm just going over with my ivory and distressing everything. And if you do too much, don't worry. If you have like a baby wipe, I love to use baby wipes with crafting. You can always go over and get off any of the excess paint. I was really trying to bring out that detail, especially in the flowers and stuff like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach it to our little striped sign. I'm using lots of hot glue. This one was the one that was a little bit bowed, but I found that if I held it down tightly with that hot glue, it did straighten it out with the addition of the sign that we're gluing it to. So again, it has a little hole in the top of the little watering can sign. So I'm just going to do a very simple bow out of twine and just glue that over it. Now I am going to go back and paint this ivory as well. I got both of these done and then I was like, I asked my husband, I'm like, are these hard to read? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, would they look better white? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'll make them more white. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to go over and distress it a lot. And I do like it better white. What do you guys think? So I think that looks really pretty and springy, and I love these colors together. The salmon and that light turquoise color, I think it's so pretty and looks so springy to me. And I love those little flower transfers. I think they turned out really pretty, and this is how it turned out. Cute little welcome to my garden. I love it. I love spring. It's so fun. Okay, let's keep crafting. Look at these beautiful rub-on transfers that I found at the crafter square at the Dollar Tree. I thought we could decorate one of these galvanized metal tulips with those, because sometimes these things can be a little hard to decorate. I also found a great thrift flip sign that we're going to get used there from the Goodwill, and I really like that bluish green color. I thought it looked really coastal, and it almost kind of has a sunshine pattern on it. It's got like a great hanger on the back. I like to pick these up at half price days at my Goodwill store, so this was like $1.50, but you can use whatever you've got. I just really dig in the color on that. I thought that would look really pretty for spring. Now it does have like a little clip on it to like hang something. Don't need that on there. So just removing that, the screw on that with a screwdriver. I also wanted to distress it just a little bit, kind of clean it up, but to kind of make it look more coastal. And my little tulip fits perfectly on there. Now this design is so pretty for spring. Look, it's got all the words on there, the flowers, butterflies, bicycles. So cute. And I thought this would be perfect to decorate this. So I'm just kind of cutting it down to size, and I'm just going to peel off the back and stick it to the galvanized metal tulip. Then I am just going to rub it on. I started with just a scraper, just a little scraper like from the crafter square at Dollar Tree, and scrape that on, and look how beautiful that is. What a great way to decorate the galvanized metal pieces from the Dollar Tree. And oh, I think it looks so pretty for spring. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach that with hot glue. I know that they say you shouldn't hot glue the metal pieces, but I usually don't have any problems as long as I work quickly with my high temp hot glue gun. And I'm totally digging it. I think that looks really cute. I did want to kind of distress that background a little bit more. I kind of should have done that before I like glued the tulip down, but that's okay. I'm doing it now. And that's all there is to it. I think this is so pretty for spring. What do you guys think about this little tulip? I think that design on there is just so pretty. Love it. Love the little bicycle on there too.
I love that rub-on. I think it's just so beautiful. Now this one's going to be quick and easy. I picked up a little spring gnome from the Dollar Tree in pink. It's already super cute, and I thought we could add flowers to it to make it a little spring gnome. Something small, but give a little touch of spring to wherever you want to decorate it. And I think I might pair this like with the candle that I did. I think they go really cute together. So these are little paper flowers that I found at Dollar Tree. They come in like 3 different colors of pink. There's like a soft pink, a hot pink, like a medium pink. And they're all a little bit different, than the shade on the hat. So I'm just kind of alternating colors, and I am just hot gluing those to the hat. Basically, that is it. I don't really need to do anything else. I'm kind of like, making it kind of random and trying to alternate the colors. And I'm really only going to put enough of them on there so that you can see it from the front, you can see it from the sides. I don't really need to do the back because you're not going to be able to see it back there. But if you were, you could totally do all over. I think this would be super cute like on a tier tray or something like that for spring as well. Just a quick, easy way to make this little spring gnome look even more spring. Isn't that so cute? And couldn't be any easier than that. This is how it turned out, our little spring flower gnome. I thought about painting his nose, like a green color, but I decided not to because I wanted to keep that glossy sheen on it. It's really pretty already. So just a quick, easy DIY because some of these were a little time extensive today.
Okay, the next two DIYs, I thought we could use those little flower wall decals from the Dollar Tree. And then I found some really pretty frames from Goodwill, and they're really old. And I thought we could DIY something fun with this. So I am just peeling off the back of these. What I want to salvage on these frames is the frame and the glass. I'm going to do two of them. And I thought we could do some kind of a coastal cottage theme flower DIY using those beautiful flower decals. I'm always looking at those and always thinking those would be really pretty for spring. But I often have trouble finding what to DIY them with. So I just remove the back and go ahead and take the glass out of the frame. And it's got this beautiful pattern on there. You could always use a Dollar Tree sign. You can get textured Dollar Tree signs, but really liked the antique feel of this. And so I'm just using some ivory chalk paint and a chunky brush and kind of going all over, bringing out that beautiful pattern on this frame. But kind of distressing it at the same time to kind of make it look nice and old. It was kind of a gold metallic before. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glass in these and use the flower sticker as the artwork, but not put the back on it. So I do go over it with another coat, trying to get full coverage over the gold metallic. Didn't really want any of that showing through. And I'm going to go ahead and start on the second frame as well. Just removing the back. You can tell this is an old piece because it is like really put together well. I was having to use my pliers. All kinds of tools here to get this thing taken apart. And we've got it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the glass from this one as well. And I want to hang these two signs together as a set. So I want to do the same thing on this one that we did on the first one. So just using that ivory chalk paint. Doesn't have to be chalk paint, but I did have some handy. And I am just going all over. I kind of stopped using chalk paint and just making it myself when I need it out of acrylic paint, just because I find that it does add up. If you craft a lot, it can become kind of expensive. Now, I have all of these staples that you saw that I had to lift up on the back of these frames, which is going to kind of interfere with my plan here. So I'm just using some pliers and going around and ripping all of those out. So I like the antique part of this frame, but it was a little bit more work. Now I do want to bring out that beautiful pattern on it. So to do that, I'm just distressing it with Antique Wax by Waverly. And then going over that with a baby wipe to make sure that it's not too brown. I really want it to be ivory, but I want to be like a slightly distressed so that you can see that beautiful pattern on there. Totally what I'm going for. And it really reminded me of like a coastal cottage look, not really coastal farmhouse. And I'm going to do that around all the sides. And it really added to, I think, the antique appeal of this frame. I am trying to get through this voiceover, and I've had to stop like 8 times because I think I'm losing my voice. I really hope I'm not getting sick. I have not been sick forever, and I do not want to be sick. I hate being sick. I know everybody hates being sick, but dang. Okay. So now on this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go ahead and pop out all those staples. And I want to hang these together, but I'm actually going to attach them to kind of make them look like they're hanging together, like they came together as a set. So I'll show you that step as well. So I'm just going over this one with the Antique Wax by Waverly as well. and distressing. Isn't that pattern so pretty? And then just going over it with a baby wipe to make sure that it's not too brown. Now, these are the flowers that we're going to use. The wall decals, that beautiful light pink flower and the beautiful light blue flower. Thought they would be a great set. They come together, so only $1.25 for both. But I wanted to stress them to make them look, kind of coastal. So while they're still attached to the little wall decal thing, I just stress them with some ivory, acrylic, and a chunky brush and wipe that off with a baby wipe just to give it a nice old weathered look. And you definitely need to do this step now before you add them to the glass if you're going to distress yours as well. I just think it makes it look older, slightly distressed, and more like, hand painted. I don't want it to look like just sticker. So I'm going to clean my glass really well since this was an old frame. And then we can attach our flower to the glass. So they're actually just giant stickers. Now be careful when you're peeling your flower off that you don't accidentally rip any of the leaves. And I'm just going to have it come from the side like that. See where I have the flat edge? I'm going to kind of put that up against the flat edge of the frame. And it fit perfectly on this size of frame, which I think is like an 8 by 10. Then we're going to go ahead and prepare the glass for the second frame as well. Getting it good and clean so this will stick down nicely. The stickers are pretty sticky, so I'm not too worried about them coming off. You could also do this with a decal as well, though. This one kind of has a flat side as well, so I'm going to do that against this side as well, and it fits on there really good too. Now I want to hang this project, and I kind of had to remove the hanger to get the back off, so I'm just going to use some of these little sawtooth hangers that you just hammer in. Just trying to find the middle of my sign to make sure that this thing's going to hang correctly. Those are definitely my favorite kind of hangers for this kind of project. I am going to attach them together, but I'm going to go ahead and do a hanger on both just because I want to make sure they're secure. I don't want them falling apart and breaking. So to attach the glass to the inside of the frame, I just do a bead of hot glue all the way around. Then working quickly, I'm going to go ahead and lay my glass in there. And it's going to give you that beautiful framed glass look with that beautiful springy flower in it. Doesn't that look cool? I think it looks really nice and old and vintage. And we're going to do the same thing here with the other frame that we painted. So just hot glue, add the frame. This is why you have to get rid of the staples and stuff that are going to be kind of in the way. And make sure you get your glass secured in there really well. Had an errant staple that I had missed before, which kind of caused my hot glue to dry up on me, but that's okay, I'll try again. And there is the pink one. So now it is time to try to attach these together. I kind of want them to look like they're attached with like a ribbon look, but I decided burlap was kind of more my style. So I used some of this burlap ribbon from the Dollar Tree and just attach that with hot glue to connect the two signs together. But again, I'm going to leave the hanger on there because I don't want this just to hang from the ribbon. I want it to be where I can actually use a nail to secure this to the wall. And this is how it turned out, our little coastal cottage flowers for spring. I think they're so pretty, and I think they look so pretty hanging together as a set, and a fun little thrift flip.
I like to call this kind of like a coastal cottage kind of feel. Still a little bit coastal, but a lot of spring.
Okay, the next DIY, I found this cute little canvas at Dollar Tree. It says Welcome Spring, and it's like a beautiful blue color, which I love for my decor. And so I thought we would take this cheap little canvas and frame it and make it look really cute for spring. Everything just seemed kind of bare, so I really wanted some more spring DIYs to brighten up my house, and I think these turned out great. Now I'm just cutting all the way around the edges with a razor blade just to remove the canvas from the back. The only tricky part is always the corners where it's kind of folded up a little bit. But I know from framing Dollar Tree canvases before that I really only need the front to fit in this Dollar Tree frame. Now, I like this frame. It's a nice size. There's only a couple things I don't like about it. I don't like the hanger. It doesn't hang right. And for some reason, they don't staple the corners down. And so the frame like starts coming apart. And so that's the first thing I always do with these is staple down all the corners so that everything stays put. Now, the other thing I don't really like about this is the wood on the back is really pretty, but the frame wood is like MDF. I wish they would made that pretty too, because I always have to try to disguise it. So here is the front of our Welcome Spring sign. Isn't that image beautiful? I love the color. I'm just going to cut along the crease for the front of the canvas. It's going to get me pretty close to the size of the inside of that frame. Almost fits. So I just have to do a little bit more trimming here to get it to fit down in there. It's almost impossible to get a perfect cut, but you can get pretty close, and I'll show you how to kind of disguise the edges too if you don't get it quite right. Now I'm going to do a rather thick layer of a matte Mod Podge all over the back of my frame because I am gluing down like a heavy canvas and I want it to stay put. And then laying my canvas right inside the frame. And anytime you frame one of these canvases, they just look so much better than if you leave them on their own, I think. So I've got it down. Now I'm going to go over the top of it with more Mod Podge, sealing that down, kind of working in one direction there. And I love this sign. I love this sign so much that I bought two. Maybe by accident. I don't even remember. Now, I told you I didn't really like the frame, so I'm trying a new technique. This is just Dollar Tree paint. I've been trying to test it out for you guys a little bit to see how it is. I noticed it's thin, so this is a very soft pink, and I thought maybe we could distress like the MDF wood frame with the pink, because there's some slight pink flowers on the canvas. And I thought that would go well together. Now, you'll see what happens. Since it is like MDF, like it soaks up all the paint when I dry it. So I do go over it a couple of times and it distressed it. I think it does look way better. I wouldn't necessarily say it looks pink though, but I like it better than it was before. So it's a win. Okay, now the next step in our little Welcome Spring sign is I want to make a new hanger. So I use the existing hanger to figure out how long I need. I just take some Dollar Tree thin twine, feed it from the back in, and tie it in the front. That's going to make it hang flat against your wall because the hanger that comes with it definitely does not. I also have a couple of Dollar Tree white beads that I'm just going to string on here. It always works a little bit better if you put a little hot glue on the tip of your twine before you start trying to do that. And they have these painted white beads at Dollar Tree now. They are so cute. I'm just going to do 2 on each side just to provide a little bit more fun to the hanger and tie it off there in front. Now, almost complete with this little bird DIY, but there was just a few more things I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of cover the seam between the frame and the canvas to make it all sealed in there, all my cuts perfect. So I'm going to use the thicker twine from the Dollar Tree, which is pretty fuzzy. So I'm going to go ahead and try to burn some of the fuzzies off before I glue it down, because then it would just kind of be impossible. And just starting in one corner, I'm going to glue that down. That little tool that you see me using there, some of you guys have asked about those. I use a couple different ones. They are the little cake decorating tools from the Dollar Tree, and they work great for hot glue, especially when you don't want to burn yourself. I used to use like makeup things, but I think I prefer the cake decorating ones better. So I go all the way around all four sides and glue that down. It's looking pretty cute. As you can tell, most of the paint definitely went into the frame, but it still looks kind of cute. Now I wanted some like tree flowers, and I picked up some cherry blossoms from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just gonna snag a couple of those little light pink flowers. They kind of remind me of the flowers on the canvas. And just glue like 3 of them over here in the corner. This one's actually got leaves on it, which is cute. So I'm going to go ahead and find another one with leaves here for the other side, just to kind of balance it out. And I thought that provided another little fun spring detail to this bird DIY. This is kind of a medium-sized sign. You could really hang this anywhere. I think I'm going to be hanging this in my dining room on the side of my kitchen cabinets. I think it'll look really cute there, and I love the colors in it. Isn't it cute? So this is our second little bird DIY today.
And I just love birds for spring. I think it looks so pretty on that blue sky background. Very beautiful, and I like the flowers on there as well. This is how this one turned out.
Okay, our next DIY, I found this little watering can from the Dollar Tree, and I thought we could decorate it, make it into like a floral arrangement. Now, it's like kind of a funky shape because it's one of the plastic watering cans. If you had like a real metal one or a thrift lip, that would be even prettier. But since it's plastic, I want to kind of decorate it and distress it to try to make it look a little prettier. So the first thing I'm going to use are these little gold butterfly decals from the Dollar Tree. And I thought we could kind of just decorate all over. You know, a lot of times watering cans, you know, are made out of like tin. So I thought that metallic look would be pretty. I could bring that in with the butterflies, and it's going to make them look super springy. And then I found several kinds of flowers from the Dollar Tree in that like salmon color. I think they're going to look really pretty. They're going to go with my pink and blue color scheme we've got going on. So I'm going to go ahead and just use the whole package of these butterflies. No need to have any butterflies like laying around afterwards. Just kind of moving them around in a random pattern. And I don't have enough to go all over, but I do have enough to do like the front and both sides, even a little, even some on the handle. Now, I don't want them to be super glossy, and I found that the plastic already looks kind of glossy because it's plastic, so kind of want to like distress it, hide the fact that it is plastic. So that's why I'm going to go over the entire thing with matte Mod Podge. It also kind of tones down like the iridescence of these like gold foil butterflies. I want them to be shiny, but only so much. And I like that this kind of gives like a texture that it's painted. It's going to make it look way much like less like plastic when it has like a textured finish. So I do go over with 2 coats because it was still looking kind of shiny. And again, I'm using the matte Mod Podge to kind of tone that down a little bit. That also helps to seal all those decals on there as well. And this is how it's looking. I thought it looked a little too perfect, so I'm going to distress it as well. Just because I like to distress things, kind of goes with the coastal vibe in my house, but you know, this step is totally optional for you. I distressed it pretty heavy, going over with a baby wipe, but be very careful if you're going to use matte Mod Podge first because you don't want to take that off, so you don't want to rub too hard. But I'm going to heavily distress it. I just kind of wanted to make it look old and less like plastic. And then I thought this would be a perfect vase to fill with those pink flowers for spring. And I'm going to go ahead and distress the back as well, even though I didn't put any butterflies back there, just for a little bit of uniformity. Now, the only thing I didn't really like about it is that since it is plastic, it is very lightweight. So I did want to weigh it down because I don't want this like tipping over. So I'm just going to use some rocks. I have some of the white rocks from the Dollar Tree, but you know, you can use whatever you've got. Get creative. And I'm going to fill that up. The great thing about this is that after I'm done with this, I can use this as a watering can. Very functional. And on top of the rocks, I'm just going to cut some pieces of floral foam so I can kind of stand the flowers up there. That way we can do like an arrangement. Now I found a couple different kinds of flowers. I found 2 packages of these flowers. Beautiful. They're kind of a smaller flower compared to the other one that I have there. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of separate all of those, that 2 packages of those, and kind of scatter those all over. And in the middle, we can put these, but I do want to save one of these flowers for another DIY that we're going to do today. So I'm just going to steal one before I forget. And then we'll just use the rest for this flower arrangement. Now I'm just using my floral scissors from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to start cutting these apart. I like to cut them apart because I find it easier to arrange. And I'm seeing if my foam is tall enough. It's not quite, so I'm just going to put a couple more pieces in there to make that a little taller. Not gluing them down or anything, because again, I want to be able to use this in the future. And then I'm just going to start scattering these all around the edges. I thought about like mixing up like different colors, like maybe some white flowers in there, but I really liked just this beautiful like salmon pink color. Thought it was really pretty, and it's a really nice contrast against the blue watering can. So once I get those all in there, I'm just going to go ahead and use the rest. I want them to be a little bit taller though, so I am just going to shove the whole thing in there all together. And this is how it turned out, our little watering can vase full of flowers for spring. Super easy, super whimsical. This would be great indoor or outdoors on your porch for spring. And the fact that I weighed it down, it's going to be a little bit more stable, so you don't have to worry about it blowing over constantly if it's outside. Check out this beautiful sign that I found at the Dollar Tree. It's almost perfect. Look how thick it is. I was really impressed with how thick this is, because you know that's always my biggest gripe about Dollar Tree signs. Now, it looks like there's supposed to be like 3 boards, and it is cut out that way, but it's not like actually 3 slats of boards. So I thought we could make it look a little bit more like 3 slats of boards just by cutting it. Not all the way through, just a little bit. So I'm just using one of those squares from the Dollar Tree and a razor blade, and just following the ruler, cutting a straight line between the boards. Then I thought I could sand it up, rough it up a little bit. Whenever I use like a paper covered sign like this, I do like to rough it up a little bit. I think it makes it look a little bit more hand painted. Now, I didn't think you could really see that seam very well, so I went back over it with like that Cricut weeder tool to kind of carve that out a little bit deeper. And I think that looks really cool. I like the fact that it looks like separate boards now. And this is the flower that we saved from the flower arrangement. I thought it would be so pretty to attach to the sign because it's very similar to what's in the picture. I just need to drill a hole. I'm just using a screw just because I didn't have my drill handy. So I just need a hole, but I don't want like a very big hole. I just want it big enough for that stem of that flower to go in there. That way I can leave the stem on there and the flower won't fall apart, because I found with Dollar Tree signs, if you take that backing off, the whole flower falls apart. So just using my weeding tool to try to make that hole a little bit bigger. I just want it to be the perfect size so it'll grip against that. And just slide that flower in. Isn't that pretty? I love that. And it totally matches the colors. I am just going to use a dot of hot glue on the back just to make sure it stays put, even though I think it probably will. Now, the only thing I have left to do on this sign, because it's so cute to start with, is I wanted to replace the hanger. So I'm going to use some of these wood beads from the Dollar Tree. These have little rainbows on them. Mine has like rainbow colored ones, white ones, black ones, and the painted ones. And so I am just going to use one end. I'm going to cut that tassel off because I want to save that for sure. And then we'll just replace what's already here. Now they had it stapled on, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull that off with some pliers. And then I'm just going to staple my would-be garland on there just by tying a knot and stapling that down. Now they had stapled it down, and so I thought, this is a thick sign, I can staple it down. Now my staples may have been a little bit bigger than theirs because I did have like one end of the staple kind of poke through a little bit, but we're going to work with it. I'm going to make it about the same size as our old hanger. And I'll definitely have to save that little rainbow on the end of that for St. Patrick's Day. Now, don't worry if you voted for something other than spring. I have tons of St. Patrick's Day, Easter, spring, even some coastal. I know there's people in there asking for coastal, and it's all coming. You know, I spoil you with lots of videos. So I just tied a knot and stapled that one to the back as well. And I think this is so pretty for spring, and how easy was that? Basically just cutting the boards, attaching a flower, and replacing the hanger. And I love how those white wood beads tie into the white beads, the wood beads that we added to the first two signs.
So definitely keep your eye out for some really pretty spring signs at Dollar Tree this year. They've really been stepping up their game with some of these signs. I love the fact that they're thicker as well.
I'm going to use some of these coasters for spring, and I'm going to do some simple little garlands for my wall. You can make a little pennant banner just with these coasters. They're so pretty, and I love the colors. So I picked up some pink ones and some like mint green ones. And I'm just going to simply string the coasters on twine. Really couldn't be an easier and just a fun way to add a little spring. This would be really cute to add to a shelf or the top of a cabinet. I'm just going to kind of string mine on my wall just to kind of make some fun for spring, but seriously, that's all I'm going to do is string it through that. They're cut so perfectly. They're kind of like a felt coaster, and they're kind of a little bit thick since they're a coaster, but they work really well for crafting as well. So that's all I'm going to do is string those on. I got two different shapes and two different colors, so I'm just going to kind of alternate that. I'm going to make two of these and just do 4 flowers on each. Honestly, I don't know if this is even considered a DIY because it's so easy. There we go. And this is how it looks hanging on my wall for spring.
Super easy. This would look really cute like on a coffee bar, even if you were having like a spring party. I used mine for some really fun whimsical decor, but you know what? The coasters are really cute too if you wanted to use them for that purpose too. Okay, you've made it to the final reveal. I really hope you enjoyed these 20 spring Dollar Tree DIYs. I had so much fun putting this video together for you. Don't forget to check out my other channel, Crafty Little Beach, and let me know in the comments below which spring DIY was your favorite. Enjoy the final reveal.
When lights go out, you're in my mind. I close my eyes, so it's just you and I tell myself you'll be back again when the stars I will save you a space for a dance in the meadow on our favorite place when spring is coming. This is as good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin, beginning to thaw from within. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon and the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window of this car. And when I feel the wind on my face, all that ever was is a wreath. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today and not tomorrow. today is a good day today and not tomorrow. There's no time to borrow today. Well, something's gotta give today. It's a good day today. It's a good day today. It's a good day today.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's video. That really helps. I'd also like to thank my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Karen O'Haron, Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Susan Edmonds, Tracy Knight, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Live Another Day, Maren Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, and Donna Tanner. I appreciate you guys so much. If you would like to become a Crafty Beach Bum member, all you have to do is hit the join button next to today's video. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube, a badge next to your name when you comment down below, and a shout out in each video. I would also love to see your all's DIYs. Be sure to join our private Crafty Beach linked in the Facebook description to show off what you've been crafting. Now, would you like even more spring Dollar Tree DIYs? Check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting.